Bug Implementer.
Welcome back to day 2 of the daily Godot practice sessions. Here we don't binge tutorial, we build muscle memory by repeating tiny actions until they stick. Today we are going to poke around inside nodes and look at their properties using the print statement. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So yesterday we learned how to use the print statement to print strings of text to the console. So let's repeat that one more time and create a new scene. Hit other node, double click on node, double click to rename the node, type in, let's call it practice again, practice 1, and hit Command S or scene, save scene as or save scene. This is the shortcut for you. I tend to use the shortcuts because it's faster. Hit the save button to save the scene. Now you have a scene file down here. And now let's add a script, hit create, open up the script, write the ready function, make the little arrow, write void, and hit return, write print, hello world. And then play the current scene or use the shortcut. And this is what we have learned yesterday. So this should be somehow familiar by now. So now let's check out the property values of nodes. For that I will add a few more nodes to the scene. Let's take sprite, 2D, the button, and let's take animation player. Those are just random picks so that we can investigate their properties. As you can see, we can add child nodes to the scene. We will come to that later when I explain the exercise in detail. But for now, we can add child nodes to this root node of the scene. And then when we click on them, we have an inspector on the right where we can investigate the properties that those nodes have. So every node has different kind of properties. And what are properties? Well, a property is some kind of data that this node can hold. Let's check this out. For example, the sprite2D node is a node that can show us images. And in the texture property, we can quick load the icon that comes with every Godot project. For example, we can basically load any image we want inside of this node. We can move this node, and now you see the sprite2D node is this icon now because we have loaded the texture in. There are different types of properties like position, rotation, scale, skew, whatever. Rotation to rotate the icon, scale to make it bigger or smaller, position, well, to position it inside of this viewport. You can see the values updating live. So if I rotate, it's linked. And those properties we can use to our advantage. We can check them out here in the inspector, and we can manipulate them later through code. So that will come in really handy. Let's check out the button. It has different types of properties. For example, the text property, press me please. And you can see that this button now has a text. For example, we can even load an icon to this. Now we have a button with an icon. So you see, every node has different kinds of properties we can manipulate to do stuff with it. And for now, we will focus on printing them out. Let's delete this line of code, and then I am going to add a script to this sprite2d node. So now we have two scripts going on, the one that lives on the root node and the one that lives on the sprite2d node, which is the child. And we need the sprite2d node script. Type the ready function, print, and now how can we access those or print those values out? Let's start with the position of this sprite2d. So now I have tracked it to a position of 251 and 185. Let's see if we can print that out. We need to hover over the property, and then we see the line property with the name position colon of type vector2, and the default value is vector2 0 0. So this is how you read this line basically. And the important information here is the name of the property. We can print them out when we type it exactly like this. So lowercase position. Position. Hit save. And now you see nothing because we didn't play the scene. Now let's run the scene. And now you see the output 251 and 185, which is exactly what is inside of this property position. And it happens to be that it is of type vector2, whatever that means. Vector2 basically has an X component and a Y component. Let's check out a different property, like let's check out modulate. The property modulate is of type color and the default value is color 111, whatever that means. Let's check out what the modulate property does. We can click on it and then we can change the color of this sprite. Let's make it red and let's see what we get when we print out this modulate property. We need to look at the name of the property. It is lowercase modulate. Let's type that in. Lowercase modulate. Hit save and run the current scene. And now we have something different because we changed it, of course. We have 1.0, 0.0, 0.0, and 1.0. So now we know this somehow means red because we have red right here. And we can see it even here, RGBA. But we do not care too much about those value types. We just print out those properties. And this is what we are going to do for this exercise. So now I'm going to delete what we did so far and restart fresh. Now the exercise will be the following. We start by adding our root node. We do this by double-clicking on this node. We rename it. Let's call it main. Save it. And now we are going to add new child nodes to this scene by using this plus sign or the shortcut you can see right here. The shortcut right here. And now you go and just select random nodes you see. Maybe you just pick something that interests you or just random picks. This time I will just scroll through it. Maybe I look inside of this node to D section. Yeah, let's take this one. Click on the root node again. Use the shortcut or the plus sign to add a new child node. This time I'll look in the control section. I use label. This time I use timer. And so on. For now, let's keep it like this. And then you are going to add scripts to those nodes. Let's start with the first one. Create, open up the script, type your line func ready to do the little arrow, void, print, just prepare the print statement. And now you go through the properties on the right and you just pick random properties. Just pick something. I pick, I don't know, ordering. I will print out the Z index, whatever that is. The Z index, I read property set with the name Z index of type int, and the default value is 0. Okay, let's print it. Z index lowercase and run the current scene. And we see 0, so it worked. Then I pick a different, let's make the default color. I hover over it, I see property with the name default color of type color, and the default value is 1111. So I need to write lowercase default underscore color. Default underscore color. Let's run the scene. And we see, yeah, it somehow matches what we have expected. This is the value stored inside of this property. Now let's check out one more, the closed property. The property closed of type bool and the default value is false. Let's check out if this is true. We need to write lowercase closed. Closed. Hit save and run the current scene. And we see false. So now we know it is true. The default value of closed is false. And now you are going to delete this, save it, and add a script to the next node. You get the point. There are a lot of properties that you can print out and look inside of them and check them. And that's all we are going to do in this exercise. I recommend you to do this for like, let's make it 10 minutes, take a break, and in the evening also do it 10 minutes again. So 20 minutes in total. And you even can repeat the practice from yesterday too, by the way, and practice both of them, this one and the last one. And as always, repetition is key. Hammer this into your brain via repetition. See ya, bye bye.